So today's lesson is about the how to graph square root function. This is the parent function. This is the parent what? The parent function. F of x equals root what? Root x. And this is the shape of what? Of the square root function. It will be like this.
السلام عليكم مستر.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Okay, guys.
بارك يا مستر.
Alhamdulillah. The first thing
قبل ما نبدأ يا مستر.
محمد.
قبل ما نبدأ يا مستر ممكن أسألك سؤال؟
اتفضل.
هو خارج الدرس عادي ولا بعد لما نخلص؟
اتفضل.
هو مستر أنت عندك الاختبار بتاع امبارح يا مستر عشان عايز أذاكره؟
لا ما صليش لسه.
تمام يا مستر.
Okay. Okay, guys. So the first point is the domain of the function of the square root function. The domain, guys, you know that the square root is a sensitive what? Is a sensitive for what? For negative numbers. That means you can't use what? You can't use a negative number, or you can substitute by values for x. Make the answer is what is negative. So the first thing, how to determine the domain? The domain must be what? The expression inside the root must be what? Write it like this. So if you have expression inside the root, so you must make it greater than or equal 0. Solve it. So the answer will be what? Will be the domain, guys. So the answer should be always greater than or equals what? Or equals 0. So this is the first what? The first type of question by determining the domain and the range. And I'll show you how to find what the range after finding what? Finding the domain. So to find the domain, so the expression inside the root must be greater than or equals 0. X plus 4 must be greater than or equals what? Equals 0. This term must be what? Positive or 0. Then we will solve it. Take this one to the other side. So x will be greater than or equals what? Negative 4. So you are allowed to substitute value of x either equals negative 4 or greater than negative 4. So you are not allowed to substitute by a value less than negative 4. Let's try, is that true? So what if you choose a number less than negative 4? For example, negative 5. Negative 5 is less than negative 4. If you put here x equals negative 5, so the value will be negative. So the function will be undefined. The function will be what? Undefined. So because of this, you are not allowed to use what? Values less than what? 4. So the domain of the function will be x greater than or equals what? Negative 4. So now what about the the range? Let's go back to the parent function, guys. This is the parent function. This is the domain, guys, starting from 0 to what? To infinity. And the range here, because to go up here, so it goes to what? It goes infinity. So starting from 0 and goes to what? To infinity like this. So the graph will be the domain of the graph, the range, I'm sorry, the range for the graph will be y greater than or equals what? Greater than or equals 0. So all values from 0 to what? To positive infinity. Or we can write it like this. From 0 to infinity. And this one also we can write it as interval. We can write it like this. Negative 4 to positive what? Positive infinity. So this is as interval. This is at what? As inequality like this. Y greater than or equals what? Equals 0. Okay. The next part. So this one, guys, this one. We wanted to find the domain and range for each one of them. Okay. So I'll take this part beneath the root to determine what? To determine the domain by putting it greater than or equals 0. So x minus 3 greater than or equals what? 0. So take it to the other side. So x will be greater than what? 3. So you are not allowed to use number less than what? 3. The least number you should use is 3. And number greater than what? 3. So this is the domain. So what about the range? Range, guys, range is the number outside the bracket. Is there a number outside the root here? If nothing, so it is what? It is 0. So it is, guys, y greater than or equals what? 0. Okay, because this one starting from 0 and go up. Okay. What about the next one here? Next one. So the expression inside the root tells you or gives you the domain. So x plus 6 greater than or equals 0. Solve it. So x greater than or equals what? Negative 6. So you are not allowed to use number less than negative 6. All numbers should be greater than what? 6. So this is the domain. Take values for x greater than or equals what? Negative 4. What about range? Range, the number outside here is what? 2. So it will be what, guys? Y greater than or equals what? 2. So this is what? This is the range. There is something, guys. It affects what? Affects the range here. If we have a negative here outside, okay, so this sign will be less than or equal. So if we don't have a negative, we don't have a negative, so it will be x greater than or equals 2. This is the range. But if it is negative, so the range will be changed like this. Y less than or equals 2, like this, guys. Okay. Now I'll show you the graph. We use the transformation, guys. We use transformation to graph what? To graph or sketch a graph for the function. So we use what, guys, again? We use transformation. So we will move what, guys? We will move the so we will move, guys, we'll move the parent function according to what, guys? According to انت سامعين دوشه يا شباب ولا حاجه من عندي؟ Do you hear a noise from here? Okay. Okay, guys. So let me show you the translation. So the parent function is root what, guys? Root x. Any number written inside the root, that means if I write root x plus or minus a, that means the function will be what, guys? Will translate either right or what? Or left. We'll take the number, you know, guys, the number with x, we take it with a different sign. So if it is x plus a, that means move what? Move to the left. Okay. If it is minus, it will move what? To the right. If a number written outside the bracket, that means it will move either up or down like this. Okay, guys. The shape of what, guys? The shape of the parent function will be like this, guys. Like what? Like this. So what we move, guys? We move the starting point. The starting point always what? Start from 0 and 0. Okay. So let's take example. What if I write like this? F equals root x minus 4. So what is the translation happened here, guys? The translation is right or left or up or down. Who can tell me, guys? Yes?
Left, mister?
Yeah, how many units?
4.
So that means this function will move to the left for what? For 4 units. That means the function originally will be like this. Start from 0, guys. So the new one, this one, if I wanted to graph this one, that means I'll move the start point from 0 to what? To -4. here and start it like this. So the graph will be like this. Okay, so this is the function. This is the parent function. This is root what? Root x. And this is what? Root x minus 4. Okay, so what if I give you a function like this? F of x equals root x minus 3, like this one. That means this function translate up, down, right, left. What, guys? Yes, what's the translation here? Can you describe the translation? يا شباب حد يوصل translation? Root x minus
The 3 units left.
translation left, right, up, down, يا man.
Oh.
The number is outside the bracket. It is not with x, يا man. It's outside the root. It's outside the root. That means up or what? Up or down. So if it is
So down.
So right what? Right, left. Depends on the sign. This one, that means the sign, the parent function will move down 3 what? Units. So the parent function will be here, like this. This is the parent function. But the new function, this function, if I wanted to graph it, the starting point, not from here, it will be starting from -3. It will be like this. Okay, guys, they are the same, but the difference is what? The starting point, okay? So I need you to what? To master this one. The second translation is what, guys? The negative. So root x, this is the parent function. If we graph it, guys, so it will be like this. What if it put a negative sign like this? That means we have a reflection about x-axis. That means the function will be like this. Will go down like this. So this is what? Negative root x. This is what? Root x. So guys, again, the negative sign means there are a reflection. Instead of drawing up, will be drawn down like this. Okay, guys, reflection about what? It will be beneath the x-axis like this. So this is the meaning of reflection. So do you remember when finding the domain, I told you guys, if to finding the range, guys, if it is positive, the root is positive, so the function will go up to infinity. If it is negative outside the root, that means that the function will be go down to negative what? Infinity. So the domain, the range will be y less than or equal 0, not greater than 0. Okay, if it is what? If it is negative. But this one, y greater than or equal 0. So if the root is what, guys? If the root is positive, so the domain will be y greater than or equal. If the root is negative, so y less than or equals. Less than or equals what? The number outside the bracket, guys. Number outside what? The bracket. Let's go back again, guys, here. And we wanted to graph what? I wanted to graph this one, guys. So we need to discover the translation happened here, guys. So what is the translation here? So if I wanted to graph, so what's the translation happened here? يا شباب ايه الترانسليشن اللي حصل هنا؟ So the parent function.
Mister, to the right.
Yeah, how many units?
4 units.
So yeah, instead of starting from 0, so we'll start from what? 4. So the start point will be moved 4 point to what? 4 units to the right. That means I start graph from what? From 4 like this. So it will be like this, guys. Okay. So this one, who can describe this translation, guys? 1b. Yes, guys, who can describe this translation?
6 units to the right.
Right or left?
Right.
نعكس الساين اللي مع الاكس بنعكس الساين بتاعه.
Oh, sorry. Left.
So 6 unit left, that means instead of starting from here, I'll go 6 unit left and
2 up.
2 up, so I'll go 2 up. So starting point, instead of drawing it from here like this is the parent function, so it will be like this. شفت يا شباب الفرق ازاي؟ الترانسليشن بيخليني اعمل ايه؟ شكل تخيلي. So it will be what? It will be drawn like this. So the starting point moved from 0 and 0 to what, guys? To -6 and 2. So I start from here. So the domain, guys, here is all values so greater than -6. So this is the domain. And the range, all number, guys, greater than 2. So the graph starting from opposite 2. So like this, from all values of y greater than what? Greater than 2, or from 2 to what? To positive infinity. Okay, guys. So we wanted to graph what? We wanted to graph this function. F of x okay, guys, the first one. So what is the translation happened here, guys? Ziad, what is the, can you describe the translation here?
Yes, it's translation, Mr. 1 unit to the right.
This one is, yeah.
2 units to the right.
Right.
Left. 2 units to the left.
زياد انت نايم على نفسك يا زياد.
2 units to the left, Mr. Sir.
حبيبي, right, left will, the number will be inside the bracket like this with x. Inside the root. Inside the root, right, left.
Okay, so it will be 2 units to the right, to down.
So 2 units down. So instead of starting from 0, so we'll start drawing from negative what? -2. So we start from 2 units down. So the graph will be like this. Okay, guys. So this is what? This is x and this is y. So this is the graph, guys. So now what about the domain? The domain, guys, we'll take the expression, read the roots, and write it like this. So it will be x greater than or equals what? 0. So this is the domain. What about the range, guys? We will take the number outside the root, not this one, outside the root, which is -2. So it will be what? The domain, the range will be y and -2. So we'll write greater than -2 or less than -2. So the sign outside the bracket is positive, so greater than. So it will be y greater than -what? Greater than or equals negative. You will notice that, guys, the graph go to
Mr. I have a question.
Yeah.
For why is it greater than -2?
Yeah. So do you notice the graph? The graph starting from where?
From -2.
And above -2 or beneath -2?
Above.
So that means greater than.
Oh, okay.
So the graph always greater than, all the value greater than or equals what? -2. Above what? -2. Okay, so this is the domain and the range. So now what about the number 5? So what is the translation with -5, guys? So what's the translation -5?
The translation is to the left.
How many units?
1 unit.
So 1 unit to the left, so that means -1. So I start from -1 and it will be like this. Now, what about the domain?
X greater than 1.
Oh, yeah. So I'll take the expression inside the root. So x -1 greater than or equals 0. That means the domain will be x greater than or equals what? 1. What this? لا يسعد عكست هنا. الرسمة دي غلط. To the right, not to the left. So this graph is wrong, guys, because with x we reverse the sign. So it is not -1, it will be positive what? Positive 1. So it will move to the right like this. Okay, guys, so you will notice the graph starting from what? From 1. So x greater than or equals 1. Start from here and we go all values greater than 1. So this is what the domain. Okay, so what about the range here, guys? The range is what? What is the graph starting from y equals what, guys? Y equals what? Y equals 0. Y equals what? 0. So this is the domain. The range will be y greater than or equals what? 0, because the number outside the bracket is 0 here. Okay, guys, and the graph, we don't have a negative sign here, so the graph will go up like this. So this is the domain and this is what? The range. So خلينا نعملها كوبي تاني. Okay, 1 minute, guys. البرنامج هنك شوية. Yeah. So the last two, guys, the last two question. So what is the translation happened here in this part? Agazi? Agazi. Jaman?
Yeah, Mr.
Translation?
Which one? Number 6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We will get rid of the 1/2 first, or we won't?
So the translation will be what, guys? Yaman?
4 units to the left.
Okay, 4 units to the left. So we reverse the sign, guys, so -4. And
1 unit down.
I will go down to -1. We start drawing from here, so it will be like this. So this is what, guys, this is the graph. Now we want to find the domain. Hey, man, domain.
Yeah, Mr. Domain. Okay.
لما نجيب الدومين ازاي يا مان؟
So,
we take the expression inside the root and make it greater than or equal 0. It must be greater than or equal 0. So
okay.
the equality, so it gives you the domain. So x, the domain will be x greater than or equals -4. You will notice, guys, the graph is starting from what? From -4 here. Starting from what? -4. And go to what? Go to infinity. So the domain is what? Greater than all values of x greater than or equals -what? -4. To what? To infinity. So now what about the domain, guys? The range, I'm sorry, the range. The range describe what the value of y. The graph starting from what? From y equals what? -1. And go up or down. So the graph above -1 or beneath -1, yeah, man?
Above.
So y greater than or equals, we take the number outside the bracket, -what? -1. So the graph is all value above what? Above -what? Above -1. So the graph starting what? Starting from -1 and goes up to what? To infinity. So what about next one, the last one? So we have two transformation here, guys. Or three, not four, three transformations. The first one, guys, is we start from what, guys? We'll take this number. So remember, guys, x must be, the coefficient of x must be what, guys? Must be 1. But if you have x like this, if you have a coefficient, so you need to divide it by what? Divide it by 5. So we have what? We have translation 5 over 3 to what? To the right. So we reverse it. So 5 over 3. So 5 over 3 is what, guys? I think this is 1. This is 2. I think it's between 1 and 2, guys. 1 and 2. Here, for example, this is what? 5 over 3. And 5 units up. So we'll go up 5 units. Okay, guys. So this is 5 over what? 5 over 3. But we have a negative sign, guys. We have a negative sign. So instead of not drawing it like this, this is wrong, because we have what? We have negative. This means we will reverse it. The side, we must draw it down like this. Like this, guys. Make it go what? Go down. There are a reflection, guys. There are what? A reflection. So again, if it is positive, so go up. If it is negative, go what? Go down. So we will go down like this. Okay, guys. So this is because the sign outside the bracket is the reflection. Now let's find the domain and find the range. So the domain is by putting the expression inside the root greater than or equal 0. So 3x minus 5 greater than or equal 0. Solve this inequality. That means x greater than or equals 5 over what? 5 over 3. So you will notice that the graph starting from x equals what? 5 over 3 and to infinity. So x greater than what? 5 over 3. Now what about the range, guys? The range, as I told you guys, y, and we take the number outside, which is what? Positive 5. But we will write greater or less, guys, because the root has a negative sign, so it will be less than or equals 5. And you will notice, guys, if you go up, you will notice that the graph beneath what? Beneath y equals 5. Y equals what? 5. The graph will be down from 5 and down, less than what? So any question about this part, guys? So we have three transformation. We translated to the left, to the right, 5 over 3, 5 units up, and reflected about y-axis because we have what? We have a negative sign. Okay, guys. So where we are? Yeah, this one. What if he asked you to find the inverse of this function? So yesterday, in the previous period, we studied the inverse, guys. We found the inverse by putting this as y. And solve for x, guys. We solve the equation for x. So 1 to the other side will be x squared equals y minus 1. Take square root, so x equals positive or negative root y minus what? Minus 1. Okay, after you finish, we will change x to the inverse, so f negative 1 of x equals positive or negative, and we'll change y to what? To x, so x minus what? Minus 1. So this is the inverse, guys. So again, the point here is the inverse of a quadratic function is a square root what? Is a square root function, but it will give you what, guys? Give you two function, not one function. In the same coordinate. And he asked you to what? To graph this one, guys, in the same coordinate. So let me show how to graph them. So to graph this one, guys, x squared function by using translation also. So this function is the parent function for x squared will be parabola like this, and it all starts from what? 0. But here we have what? 1 unit translated up, so the graph will be like this. So now what about the inverse? The inverse, guys, is to function, is what? To function. So that's mean f of -1 of x is root x minus 1 negative root x minus 1. That's mean we have what? We have translated one, if you wanted to graph this, so it will be like this. So 1 unit to the right, so here, so it will be like this. And the second one is the same, but it will be what? I draw it down because we have a negative sign, so it will be like this. So together, guys, they are looks like what? The parabola, if you draw all of them. But here is it's open upward, and here is open what? Open right, like this. Any question, guys? Any question?